Why did you click on this video? I'm really curious why you did, because I know that the thumbnail and the message that I pick for my caption or whatever the title is might have been interesting, but why did you click on this video? I think it's precisely because there is something that you feel that I think I may have felt before, and I'm making this video in particular because I'm trying to meet people who think about the African continent the same way that I do, and people who see the potential not just in the continent but in themselves as well. And so my entire desire for this channel is to make sure that many people in the African continent see that the continent has not been like it's not something that has you need to lose hope on, but even beyond that, I know that that's not possible without its people. And if you're somebody who's young and you're in the African continent, I know that you're going to relate to so much of what we're going to be talking about in this video, and I hope that by the end of this video you will have felt that there is something that you can do to step up your life, live your dreams, and in that process also develop your continent of Africa. Hi, my name is Zelda. I am currently a master's degree student in psychological research, and I'm very passionate about the African continent. I'm very passionate about ensuring that people know what is happening on my continent, what happened in the past. I did a series of some of the worst things that happened in the African continent, what is happening in the present, so talking about the data, the statistics, what is happening to different groups of people in the continent, and the future as well, to paint a positive, hopeful, optimistic picture, and even naive. I've been called naive before, so I'll take that. But a purely optimistic image of the continent. And so if you want to watch this, then feel free to tag along, and I hope you'll find this useful. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about today is the idea that when I was a little kid, I remember watching a lot of American TV, which also partly explains my accent. I'm not saying I have an American accent, but I do not have a Tanzanian accent. It's the accent of a Tanzanian trying to sound American. I take credit for that. But I remember wondering so much, like, why is it that the streets in the TV shows that I'm watching, they look very different than the streets that I'm seeing in my hometown? Like, there's a discrepancy somewhere here. And yeah, you could argue like, oh yeah, that's America, this is Tanzania. Yeah, sure, but I was just like, why can my country look like that, you know? Why can't I have all the resources that these people in other countries have? Like, I remember watching some TV shows and like a 15-year-old would be working at like, I don't know, McDonald's or like a Walmart or something, and they're already earning money. And there's like a system for internships to be able to do that. And I was 15 years old in Tanzania, and I don't remember what I was doing when I was 15. I was studying, I was cramming for exams. I'm planning to talk about education in Africa. I've talked about it briefly when I was talking about children, the state of children in the continent. But I just think the way our continent is set up is just like cramming. You just cram statistics, you just cram geographical facts, you just cram history, and then you don't really do anything about it. So I felt that sense of like deep frustration. I think this is something that you may be feeling as well. And to me, it's like I wanted to channel that frustration somewhere, which is partly what I'm doing with this YouTube channel. But I feel like one of the reasons that I'm feeling a lot of frustration is the fact that I cannot do much about it. And you could be like, oh no, maybe you can. Okay, sure, suppose I could, but I can't do it alone. You know, you've heard people say that if you want to go, okay, I'm going to butcher this proverb. Oh my God. Something like, if you want to go somewhere, go alone. But if you want to go far, or if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with other people. So to me, I hope that this message hits the right people, and I hope that if you're somebody who's been looking for like some sort of a sign, like, God, should I start this thing? Should I talk about this? Should I do this? I hope this is a sign for you that there are other people who are feeling what you're feeling. There are other people who are seeing the things that you're seeing, and they're also trying to do something about it, e.g. me. And there are so many other people who want to do the same things, and I hope people will feel free to comment and share the experiences in the comment section, because I think I've said this before in another video, that I think the power in changing Africa lies in a lot of things. Yes, I did a video talking about how women typically, like, technically speaking, if we empower women, we are going to see a lot of change in the continent. But I think on the same hand, if we empower youth, I was able to show this in one of my videos, that on average in Africa, the youth make up the largest, like the densest part of the population. It's people in the youth group. So we are the ones that are capable of making change. We're the ones who are capable of doing something about it. And when you think about it realistically, it's because we have energy and we have time. We don't have money, because of course, but we have energy and we have time. we can use those two things and put them together to do something. And that's the thing for me. It's like, guys, we grew up, like, I'm 24. I grew up hearing my parents and my uncles and my aunties and people in the streets complaining about the economy. And I remember when I was like very young. I was like 4 or 5, and I was like, oh yeah, these things will probably be resolved by the time I'm in my 20s. And now in my 20s, and people are still complaining about the economy. They're still complaining about roads. They're still complaining about diseases. They're still complaining about, I don't know, infrastructure, electricity going off, load shedding, I don't know, water rationing. And I'm like, it's 2024. It's 2024. And I've said this before in one of my other videos, and somebody was like, oh, they never went to the moon. Even if they didn't go to the moon, they lied to us about going to the moon, and some people believed it. I want my country to be able to get there. I want my continent to be able to get there, you know? And I think without the youth, it's not going to be possible, because we're the ones with the most energy. And to me, I heard somebody say this once, and they said something like, when you're young, you devour something, you know, like you go after it. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, you go after it. The time to rest and chill and enjoy life, I think it's later in life. Maybe your 30s are the new 20s, like to enjoy life. But your 20s, you are your strongest, your sharpest. I don't think this is the time to be flexing on Instagram that you have, I don't know how much money. I know people from different parts of the world are looking at this, so I'm not going to say a specific currency, but just the idea of like flexing on social media. Oh, let's think of something like smoking. I see a lot of youth doing this. Not my friends, because I'm not going to associate myself with people who do this kind of things, but just people I went to school with. They'll post something like shisha. They're taking shisha and they're putting it on Snapchat, and you're like, you're 24 years old. And the first thing in your mind is, I should post this video of me doing shisha in a club. Really? Like, and the thing for me is that in a couple years, those are the same people who will be giving unsolicited advice to people in their 20s, being like, oh, if I was your age. And to me, I'm like, we are in the age. We should be doing something about this, okay? So if you're somebody who's young and you're in the African continent, I know our continent looks hopeless. I know that. I've lived it. Guys. I've been to the United States in multiple states. I've been to Greece. I've been to the UK. I've been to the UAE. I've been to all these parts of the world. Trust me, guys, after you've lived in Dubai, everywhere you go just looks like rubbish pits. And trust me, the distance from Dubai to like Edinburgh is huge in itself. But the distance from Dubai to Dodoma, Tanzania is just like, guys, people are talking about flying cars, and we're talking about potholes in the road. Oh my god, it's so embarrassing, guys. It's so embarrassing. And to me, I'm like, okay, I think I can deal with it. But imagine your grandkids. Imagine like 40 years from now. What do you want your grandkids to be complaining about? Like, there are places where people are like, oh, there are not enough parking spaces. That's their worry. That's their concern, okay? But people in your home country are crying about, I don't know, it flooded a little bit and everything was going crazy. Like, I don't think these are things we should be talking about today. So if you're somebody who has even the slightest passion for your continent, I think this is the time for you to go after your dreams and to make them happen. Because even if it's not something that is specifically centered in Africa, if it's a business idea that you have, if it's like a blog idea that you have, if it's like, I don't know, a company idea that you want to open, a publishing company or something like that, if it's education you want to go for, like a specific school you want to apply to, a specific scholarship you want to apply to. I don't even have any more examples, but if it's anything of that sort, go for it. Don't be scared, because at the end of the day, for the idea of like Africa developing is too abstract. I think for Africa to develop, individual people have to develop. Individual people. So think about it this way. Like, there is 1.4 billion of us. For the country's GDP to rise, individual GDPs will have to rise as well. Don't just depend on Dangotes and these rich people. Look at yourself and the contribution that you're making to the continent. What contribution are you making? This is the other thing. We're very good at complaining. We have this thing in Tanzania called Vijiweni, where youth typically meet and they just complain about everything. They're like, oh my god, this person, he's Illuminati. That's why he has money. Listen, whether they're Illuminati or not, that's absolutely none of your business. You go work. You go get the money for yourself. And when you do, number one, you'll be able to do so much more for yourself. You'll be able to see that the world will open itself up to you. And number two, you will also pull everybody else around you up. And in that sense, you'll be pulling your community up. So do that. Go for it. That's my message. I feel like just recording this very quickly. And I'm glad I got this out of my chest because I have so many things to complain about. So many things. I have so much energy to complain about. But then I'm just putting it out there. So I hope this message is encouraging. I know I rumbled on. I hope I'm not scolding anybody. But in case I did, I hope it worked. And so go for it. Go for your dreams and don't be scared. And don't let anybody tell you that Africa is too hopeless. Because I know that I've felt that before. Like, oh, it's gone, this content is done. Don't let politics confuse you. I know so many leaders in Africa are corrupt, and I'm going to be doing a video about that soon. Don't let anybody confuse you about, oh, like, well, you're just one person, what can you do? No, don't let those things stop you. You have the power to do something about your continent. Look for the particular skills that you bring to the table. If you're somebody who draws, go draw. Okay, you better draw. Like, draw. If you're somebody who sings, you better sing. Like, you should be like competing with birds or something at this point. If you're somebody who can run. You're somebody who's into other sports, go to the sports. You're somebody who can write. You're like an academic weapon, go be an academic interballistic missile. Like, don't hold yourself back. I think this time to be like shy and reserved. And I noticed this. I said this in one of my videos. Oh, yo, this video is gonna be so long. I noticed this in I said this in one of my videos, but I noticed this when I was in undergrad. I don't remember what exactly I was doing, but I think I was just sitting somewhere and I was people watching, and I could tell who the Africans were. And I know, of course, most of us are black, but there was something about the way the African students were walking versus students from other continents, and I could just, I remember. I went to NYU Abu Dhabi, New York University Abu Dhabi, by the way, good school, applied to it. Let me know if you did help with the obligations. It was free, by the way. I'm not going to charge you. Unless I really want to make money, then I'll charge you. But now I'm offering for free. Anyways, it was during something called Candidate Weekend, where the university brings students to the university for free. They pay for you so you can see the campus. So they're choosing you, but you're also choosing them. And I remember I was just watching the students who were coming to like look at the school. And I could tell the Africans apart so easily from their posture. It was just like bent. And to me, I was just like, what is happening with these people? Like, why are they like this? And I remember seeing it myself. I went back to my Candidate Weekend photos and I was looking at it and I was like, I didn't look as confident as the other kids. I didn't. I looked at the student government at my university. For the entire 4 years I was there, I was like, how many black people are running in elections? Very few. We had like one black vice president when I was there. And then we had like one other person in my class who was running for like political positions. That's it. And I was like, what's wrong with us? Like, what's wrong with us? Why aren't we going after things? Why are we holding ourselves back? Let's go for it. Let's not wait for people to do things for us. This is why I'm very much against affirmative action. I'm very much against affirmative action. And I think about this quite a lot, especially with like NYU. I'm like, did I get into NYU because of affirmative action? I mean, I had straight A's from my high school. But then I'm like, did they pick me because they were like, oh my God, we need to meet a quota of black people. Let's just take this girl. I really hope not. But and I hope that we stop relying on these things because we can do it. I don't believe in the idea of like having certain strengths based on genetics. I really don't believe in that. The only thing genetics contribute is physical features. I'm not even going to talk about this with anybody. I know there's some psychology studies that have shown like, I don't know, temperament can be determined by genetics, or like some people genetically are susceptible to like depression. And I am somebody who's studying a master's degree in psychology. I know guys, but listen, unless Sigmund Freud himself comes from the grave and tells me that, I will never believe that. And I know I'm a scientist. I know I'm an empirical scientist, but I just don't agree. I don't agree with the idea that, I don't know. I know people say like Jews have the highest IQ, and I did this in my last video. I talked about why people think Africans are stupid. I really don't believe in this idea of like, oh, this race is smarter than this other race. I disagree altogether. I think we're just as smart as any other race. And I think you should remember that. If you're watching this and you're somebody who's in an international institution and you're thinking that other people are smarter than you, they're not. They literally are not. You're just as smart. You're just as capable. Go show them and go get them. That's my entire message today. That's literally it. If I keep talking, I'm going to talk for like an hour. But I'm not going to do that. And I don't have time to edit this video as well, because I have classes and I have stuff to do. But I wanted to get that out there because I think people need to hear a message of hope for once and for all. And I've done videos as well bashing Africa. Not bashing, but exposing just like the really sad statistics and how terrible it is as a continent. But I think once in a while it helps to talk about something positive, okay? So I hope this message is encouraging. And I hope that, yeah, you go ahead and do something about it. If you feel like a fire up your, I'm not going to say butt. I mean, I said butt, so yeah, you know what? I'm going to go. And you'll see me in the next video. Bye.